All right. Hello, everyone. So good to see everyone today. We're so happy you were able to make it. And for those of you who might be joining us for the first time, I'm Lindsay Horowitz with MDE as the Post-Secondary Transition Specialist. And we're really excited for today. And we will put in the chat the link to the PowerPoint. And it is also up on our Google Drive, our ECBC Google Drive. If you need an accessible PowerPoint version, let us know. And then as we go throughout today's presentation, Ann Maculate, our colleague here today, will be putting in links as we go. And use that chat because we need to hear from you if you didn't get something or you have input to share with us. All right. So then here is our agenda for today. So we'll just do kind of that welcome, our overview, which we're going through now, and then some housekeeping items. We will look at our current ECBC data. So that's from you guys. We'll share feedback on using the framework and the toolkit over this last month. We'll talk about our December focus, which is identifying strengths, needs, and through the inventory and creating plans. And then we will talk about uploading an inventory and our plans in MyVault. Talk about your homework for you guys as community teams over the next couple months, because our next meeting will be in February, although we have a winter break in there. And then your exit ticket. We really appreciate that exit ticket too, because we change things based on what you guys tell us. Oh, yes. So this part is exciting. So we are going to turn our attention here to hands-on tools. And this is a part of the Youth in Transition Toolkit, and where we share stories. So we have youth stories on here, and we wanted to share one today with you guys. So we thought that you guys could see what's on there, and then please go there on your own so you can see all of the amazing voices or hear from all of our amazing voices. Okay, my turn to share. Share your sound. Okay. Actually, hold the phone. Here we go. Okay. Are you seeing my desktop, or you're seeing the PowerPoint? I mean the YouTube.
We see your desktop.
Awesome. I'm gonna reshare. Haven't done that in a while. Share sound, share that. Okay. All right.
Perfect.
All right. So this is Bailey.
We can't hear the people here. Oh, no.
Bailey is fully transitioned into adulthood. He has a job he loves. He lives in his own apartment, and he's living his best life. Along the way, he's had lots of supports, and his guardian was able to guide him along the right path. Both his confidence and his social life have come a long way.
Hi, Bailey.
Hi, I'm Sarah, Bailey's aunt.
I work at Feet Farm. I do farm, candy, and sports stuff, and I stock the shelves, break down the cardboard and stuff.
I feel like Bailey having a job has made him more confident in being able to communicate with people. He had a whole new set of teammates at Fleet Farm that he would need to communicate with, and sometimes people don't always understand what he's expressing or saying, and so it takes a little bit of time to understand different things that Bailey says, and sometimes he gets frustrated when he has to repeat, and so I think he's come a long way in working through a couple of those things, and so I feel like overall he's just kind of ready to be more social in his life.
I went to the TS2.
It's Transition to Success. It's an extension of our school district program. There's other school districts that provide additional 2 years that they reference it as college and getting them ready for their next step in life with life skills.
I learned about cooking, cleaning, and my class.
The VRS program helped Bailey prepare for getting a job, so researching for different positions, filling out applications, and creating a resume. So all of those were skills that he learned through the program. So through the VRS program, he was able to shadow at Fleet Farm to make sure that that was going to be a fit, maybe something that he wanted to try.
I learned skills at Fleet Farm like teamwork, hard work, and time management.
He volunteers at a local Eagles club. He volunteers at a car show weekly. And I think that's part of his support staff, because the staff that work at the Eagles are glad every time he shows up to help. And we have a lot of good family members that are support staff and a lot of friends too.
I live in my own place with a roommate.
So right now, Bailey lives with Andy, who he's known for a few years. We know their family too from our small community that we live in. And so at the time Bailey was looking for a roommate, I thought, I'm going to see if Andy might be interested in living on his own as well and see if it works out for them to be roommates. They both are sports enthusiasts, and we thought that would be a good fit. And so between his parents and us, we started the apartment hunt. Do you like living in your apartment?
Yeah.
Independence for Bailey, from my standpoint, is important because it shows that he can take care of himself. He's responsible and he's accountable to make sure that he keeps his things together in the apartment and is able to get up and go to work every day. He usually reminds me, like, if I'm supposed to be helping him with something, and I think giving him some accountability and responsibility, since we're not together every day, I need reminders still that if he needs help with something. So he's had to step up a little bit from that standpoint. Bailey has started developing more self-advocacy skills. I would say specific example at Fleet Farm. When he first started, they had him doing some cleanup work and maybe some things that he didn't necessarily care for. And so then they worked and they found him another opportunity to be stocking in the sports department. And so he talked to them about that and got that initiated.
I at the work with hours.
Advice I would give parents for teenagers and young adults going through transition, determining what's next in their life after high school, is really seeking out support services and staff. Learning what's available helps you evaluate what will work best for your child and young adult, and also learning from other people. Well, you might feel like, nope, this will never work, but if you hear other experiences and that they've been successful, I think it gives each person an opportunity that they need to figure out what's best for them.
With the help of vocational rehabilitation services, Bailey learned how to search and apply for a job and how to shadow on the job. Now, job shadowing is a type of work-based learning experience which allows you to observe and try work to see if it's a good fit for you. Ask your support team how you can get work-based learning experiences to help you try things too. Bailey has supports at work with coworkers who are willing to help. He learned to advocate for himself and was successful in requesting a department change and asking for more hours at Fleet Farm. He also has natural supports, friends, family, and volunteering friends. His school helped him with independent living skills, cooking, cleaning, personal finance, to prepare him for living on his own. He now enjoys living in an apartment with a roommate who shares his interests. Bailey's guardian encourages parents and guardians to seek out services, supports, and especially other families who have helped a child at transition to find out what worked for them. Thanks, Bailey.
Such a great video. I feel like that smile of Bailey, when he's walking, and just when you saw Bailey and the other professional at Fleet Farm. It's just like their two smiles together were amazing. So we encourage you guys to go visit these stories, look at them. They are arranged as individual stories. There's topic stories. Use them, and they're all, the cool part is they're all youth in Minnesota whom all of us serve. So that's really exciting to see. So then we just want to share links as a reminder. Here are all of our links so far. We'll also upload when we're done with today's and for the December recording and PowerPoint. And then as a reminder, all of our resources are on that ECBC Google Drive site. And if you still need access, just let us know and we will get you in there. So then our next part, we are going to talk about our workbook again, just to bring us back to some of our things that we want to make sure we're all working on. So we'll go, we have our, just a reminder, we have our 3-step process as a community team. So that first step being solidifying your community team and setting those monthly meetings. You'll see here when we pull up our spreadsheet, we do have some teams who have solidified their community teams, contact info, and setting their monthly meetings. So we want to give a reminder for those who haven't. We do want that. Enter that enrollment data and create your employment team goal. So many are in there. We still need many as well. And then tracking your goals and updating that student data. And those you would update at your monthly meetings with your community team. And this is where we go into your workbooks and pull that data that we submit to the Olmsted cabinet. So we need you. And this is all data that would obviously help you in your everyday work supporting our youth. So we are going to pull up our progress here. I'm going to share my screen. Okay. So we just wanted to share where we're at. So like we were saying before, here is where you guys don't need to update this spreadsheet. You update your workbooks. We go into your workbooks and then we put it into this spreadsheet that is also on the ECBC shared drive. So you absolutely can look at it, but don't worry about updating this one. Focus on your workbooks. So one of the things that, so in that step, 3-step process, we look for that you have your updated community team and contact info along with when your monthly team meetings are. Then making sure that you're updating for goal 1, what you're wanting to achieve, your goal of progress for that each month, your goal 2, and then progress for that each month. So we see here we have quite a few holes. We want to just look at, so our overall Minnesota Olmsted plan goal is 150. So our goal even is below what Minnesota's goal is. So we just need, and we will get to that goal, but we need everybody's help getting that goal by putting your information in here. Then in this column F, this is where we track the number of students with that DCD label of gaining competitive integrated employment. This is what we report to the Minnesota Olmsted cabinet. We are currently at 16. So remember, our goal is 150. So we really, really need you. Thank you to those who've already been putting in their data and updating their community teams. We appreciate that. And those that haven't, we still appreciate you too. We just need you. We need you to put your information in because we want to show the great work that we're doing. And the Minnesota Olmsted cabinet sees this, and then we can pair it with that awesome narrative of what you do. Because we do pair it with what you are doing. We want the numbers to match because we know you're out there doing the work. So please, please, please enter that data. If you need help, reach out. We will help you. We just need you to do it. Alyssa, do you have anything else to add in there? Or are we?
Nope, you did great.
Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And we will go back to our PowerPoint. Okay. And so now we're going to get into the work that we have been doing and are continuing to do around the transition framework. So if we take, we're going to go through this graphic again, and we'll go to the website throughout today. But just as a reminder, the Minnesota Transition Framework, it's designed to bring our whole systems together to provide that high quality transition programming for all of our youth across the state. So this graphic here really summarizes the primary components of the framework. So first you'll see we have the youth in the center in the green there, because all of our work, all of this is about them. Next, we'll go to that outermost circle. So the 4 items represented here are the goals that we have for us as professionals supporting you, the transition system. So they include that consistent transition planning expectations for youth and families, aligned between schools, VR, waiver and service providers, and then coordinated services and supports between our agencies and collaborative partnerships with youth and families. Then the next circle has the 3 primary components of the framework. So we outline guiding principles and shared practices that we can all follow. So we follow along with the most robust portion of the framework, which are the learning expectations. You're such a good fan. The learning expectations are divided into 4 domains, which are represented in that inner circle there. So these include the 3 IEP categories of independent living, post-secondary education and training, and employment, along with that overarching domain of best life for each student. Beautiful. So then next, what we want to do is have an opportunity for you guys to connect. We heard that you also want those opportunities. So we're going to go into breakouts, and we'll go into just random breakouts, and Ann will get us there in a moment. But we want to talk to each other about what have you tried in the last month with the Minnesota Transition Framework within the Youth and Transition Toolkit. How did it go? And hear from each other. We'll have 7 minutes in there, and then we'll come back together.
Okay, is everybody ready to head to their breakouts? We're going to open up the rooms, and we've got mostly rooms of 5, but a couple of 6. So hopefully you'll get everybody. All right, we're opening up.
Okay, thank you.
And if anybody needs help getting into their breakout room, let me know.
I think Maddie went to a breakout.
Should we bring her back? I can bring her. We could bring her back.
Sorry, I said no co-host, but I guess. Hallie, do you need to get? No, Hallie doesn't. Okay. Spuds just came through though. I just wanted to preface it for the person.
Maddie's fully engaged.
She's not like there.
I don't know where I don't see her yet. I'm just scrolling where she went.
Whoever is Spuds, I'm willing to assign you to a breakout. I don't want to surprise you. We're in a breakout session right now, so.
Maddie's in room 2.
Oh.
Maddie is with Randy. Maddie's best friend is Randy's sister, so it's just weird
Oh,
that
okay.
Oh, and they're in the same room? Are they? Is that where she went? That's funny. Well, I knew that. That's why I put her there. Random assignment. It was meant to be. Is anybody else in this room that needs to?
Jeff and
Jeff,
Shane. Wait, did Pam say?
Jeff, Jeff, do you need help getting somewhere? I can assign you to another room to just reinitiate it.
Jeff has to run to another meeting, so I'm gonna move him out. No, I'm not gonna move him out.
Okay. Is it okay to pause the recording?
That was a different.
Thank you very much. And we'll put that in the chat. And then we're just gonna allow, did we say 3 or 4 minutes? I'm so sorry. 3 minutes for you guys to fill out that feedback link. You guys have filled this out a couple other times, so we feel like you can do it in the 3 minutes. So just we're asking you your feedback on the month. How did you use the toolkit? Share your experience. Overall, what did you like best? Need for improvement? Additional training. I'll be quiet. In our thank you to my friend who keeps us on recording track. So we are also going to share this link when we send our recap email as well, so that you have some additional time if you weren't able to complete the feedback link. So we're going to keep going. We want to also give a summary of the November feedback that you guys provided to us. So there were many comments of most have recently begun to use the toolkit. Awesome. Several have started to use it with their students and teams. Many thought the toolkit was informative and easy to use and saw it as a fantastic resource with a wealth of useful tools. A few found that the toolkit could be overwhelming and would like more introductory training on using it. So we appreciate this feedback and are going to continue adjusting based on your feedback. So we love hearing from you. So thank you. We are also going to, so we would love to hear from you on your experiences of using the Minnesota Transition Framework so far in this last month. Before we open it up to everyone, I know we have our team from Bloomington. So just to let you know, I kind of put them on the spot because in a conversation, they were sharing how they actually use it. So I was like, oh, would you mind sharing that at our ECBC session? So thank you. And I'm going to turn it over, just a few brief things from our Bloomington team.
Yeah, thanks, Lindsay. Appreciate that. So in Bloomington, a couple of the things that we're looking at with the toolkit, in particular, the framework, is bringing it down to the high school and utilizing it with our high school case managers and having them fill it out for all of our students. So I'm working with the other special ed supervisors on bringing it into the high school, as well as then looking at how are we in the transition center once we get that information from the high school, using that as data to help with classes, courses we're aligning, and kind of working on some of that person-centered planning with the student once they get here to BTC. So a lot of really good things that we're starting to work on. We just need a little bit more time to continue to figure out how we're gonna integrate it into our current practices.
Amazing, Robin. Thank you guys so much for sharing that. And I think you're referring to the inventory.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, absolutely. And we will go into that more today as well. We just appreciate you using it, right? We're all in this testing phase. So thank you. And I think I see Nancy's hand up.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy, and I am a work coordinator with District 196, which is Apple Valley, Eagan, and Rosemount District. I was sharing in our small group that one of our work coordinators has been introducing MyVault and using MyVault in one of our employment classes that focuses primarily on skills for getting a job. So My Vault fits in perfectly. She set them all up with an account, or they created their account. And they've been working through adding their contacts, adding their VRS counselor. And if they don't have one yet, we're working on getting them on board, and all their other team members. In addition, as they're creating their resume, they're uploading it. And even like if they do a paper sample job application, they're taking a screenshot and they're uploading that into My Vault. So anything that would be helpful for them to come back and look at and use as a guide for future reference, they're trying to add that in. And then the third thing is they're starting to do those planning paths and go through the plan for work. In particular, in her class, she's focusing on that piece. So as they finish those activities, it creates this wonderful, colorful report. And our next step is to have students start sharing that report at their IEP meeting to show what they've been doing.
Wow.
I was going to say one bit of feedback that she has noticed is the template that's in either My Vault or as a tool in Disability Hub for creating your resume is the template through Indeed. And what happens is if you use that template through Indeed, it's great for putting your resume on Indeed, but it doesn't allow you to save and upload it into My Vault. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if there's other templates that they want to think about posting that are easier to get onto My Vault.
That's great feedback for us. And we can take that because we have Beth, our other colleague, on here too today, that we can all bring that back and touch on, because yes, we want things that are on there that are user friendly for all.
Yeah, but all in all, it's been a good experience. And I think the students, when they see that report and they see what their work has done and what they've created, they're kind of excited about it.
So awesome. Thank you for sharing. I love it. Oh, I just love even the variety of how you guys have used it so far. Okay. So anybody else, or shall we keep going? Okay. All right. We'll keep going. If you guys think of something, you can share it in the chat. Love to hear from you. So then our next, so from our last exit ticket, here's what you guys shared in terms of your feedback. So you really appreciated that 90-minute and having that 30-minute time to meet in your community teams. The introduction to My Vault and navigating the Youth in Transition Toolkit on the Disability Hub were helpful. And people are beginning to share the resources with youth and families. So cool. And then for future meetings, to continue to help with navigating through the Disability Hub and providing as much pre-IEP, pre-meeting guidance as possible. So the agenda, links, resources to look at in advance. So we took this feedback and hopefully we provided some of those things for you in advance, and just keep telling us because this is for you. All right. Next, we're going to get into our youth planning process.
Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Alyssa Klein from Vocational Rehabilitation Services. So we're going to move into our next portion of the meeting today and talk about the youth planning process. And by the way, we will be taking time for a break, and I need my partners to remind me when that is, because I don't have our other agenda up to what that's telling me. So we will be taking a break, I think closer to 2 o'clock. So, all right, let's dig in. So as you all might recall, for those of you that have been at our other meetings, a piece of every ECBC meeting this year, we're going to be digging into this youth planning process that's on the Youth in Transition Toolkit. As you might recall, there's 6 steps to the youth planning process. And we are focusing on at least 1 or 2 of these steps at each of our meetings. Last month in November, we talked about building the team, and I'm going to remind you a little overview of what we talked about. And then this month, we're going to focus on steps 2 and 3. So we're going to talk about identifying the transition and pre-ETS needs and strengths of every student that you're working with that you can use the inventory with. So we're going to talk about that. And then we're also going to talk about creating plans together as an interagency team. And then also, just as a reminder, we've talked about this at every meeting, but just we ask that every community team with ECBC select at least 2 students who have interagency support members on their team. Select 2 students that you can complete this whole process with. So if you haven't started yet, it's not too late. Some of you may have already started. You can go as quickly through the process as makes sense with the students. Or you can wait, if you feel like you want to go through each meeting and complete a step after we cover it at each meeting, that is fine too. So, but just as long as you're using this process with at least students, so we're getting feedback from you on how it works. So as I said before, I would just want to give you a quick recap of what we talked about in November for step 1, which is about building the team. So we talked about at the beginning of each school year with this process that you would work with the youth and their family to identify who's on that youth support team. It's also a time to say, okay, who isn't, but maybe should be. And in particular, when we're talking about ECBC, we're talking about school team members, we're talking about vocational rehabilitation services or state services for the blind. And then we're talking about county case managers or waiver case managers. So thinking about those 3 primary entities at the very least, of course, the youth and family as well. So another piece that we talked about is preparing the youth and the family for the transition process for this school year, and having a MyVault account, that all team members would have a MyVault account. Nancy, it was so fun to hear how you guys are using it in 196 down there, making sure everyone has a MyVault account. And as Nancy said, entering in for the student, working with them to enter in all their team members into their account, and then they can share those contacts with their team. One last thing I wanted to note, we have this lovely graphic. I'm going to take you to the website real quick because one thing I forgot to show you last month is something kind of cool, because I know many of you liked that graphic. So this takes you to the roles page, and again, it's linked on the slide. So you have this page on our toolkit that gives you the picture, that visual of everyone that's on a youth team to be considering. And then underneath that, it goes through each of the members on the team and what their role is. So the youth, the family members, and you can keep scrolling down. It has school, vocational rehabilitation, which includes either VRS or SSB. We have service providers and then waiver. But one other cool thing to note is if you scroll up, there's a place right here. It says Print Desk Aid. So you can use this and share this with youth and families or other team members about, hey, as we're talking about transition and our roles on the team for the student, these, you can print this out and give that to them. Of course, you can give them the link to the site too, but anyway, it's just a nice little handout as well. So again, Print Desk Aid, it's on the roles page right here in that lovely little purple box. All right, we'll go back to the slide. Okay, Lindsay, oh, never mind. It took you to the page, right? When I went there?
Yes.
You know how sometimes it's follow you? Oh, okay.
Yep.
All of a sudden I had a panic moment that it didn't follow.
You're doing great.
Okay. So again, today we're talking about steps 2 and 3 of the youth planning process. Step 2 is about identifying the transition and pre-ETS strengths and needs of the student. We're going to talk today about the transition pre-ETS inventory. And I have to admit, like, to me, this inventory really is a centerpiece in the whole framework and the toolkit, because it really helps all of us have the more targeted conversations about where the student is at on their transition journey, where their strengths are, where their needs are, and how we all come together to help support the student. So that's really what we're focusing on today is how this inventory can work and help you with that planning together as an interagency team. So we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about, again, uploading into the vault. Beth is going to be spending a little more time showing you how to do that again today. So we'll have some time on the vault too. I am going to pull up the inventory. So give me a sec here. I got to escape. Just to remind you all again, I know we talked about this before, but I want to take a little more time again today talking about the inventory. And now I lost my notes, so just bear with me. I think my notes just disappeared because they're on here. They were on my other slide, but then when I escaped, they disappeared. And that's always so fun when you're all sitting here staring at me and I'm okay, found okay. I just don't want to miss something as I'm doing this. So at the top of here, and we're going to be talking today in a little bit, we're going to be demonstrating using the inventory with a student named Maddie. So we'll show you that in a bit, but so I already have this one started to be completed and we'll show you that. But so Maddie is, of course, the 22-23 school year. We're going to show you everyone on her team, and they're all listed here. So you'll want to do that as you're completing that with the student. I want to remind you that there's some instructions here for how you complete the inventory. A big piece to know is that we have levels on here. We have these, actually I shouldn't say levels, they're learning stages. So as you're looking through every topic on the inventory, what the team will want to discuss is where is the student or youth at in terms of their learning stages within that topic. So we have kind of overarching definitions of what those learning stages are. We have the awareness level, where the student is able to just learn about and understand the topic. So if the student maybe still has some work there and they're at that awareness stage, you would check that on the inventory. As you go down here, you'll see those learning stages listed here. You'll say we started completing this for Maddie and we decided in this first topic, we selected awareness. The next learning stage is exploration, and that's where a student gets to discover their strengths, preferences, interests, and needs within that topic. The third learning stage is where they're able to practice skills, make decisions, and get ready for success within that topic. And then the fourth learning stage is they're fully utilizing their skills within that topic. We'll go back to these learning stages because we have more information about those within each of the topics as well, and I'll show you that. But before I do, also want to remind you that there's a pre-ETS key. So every transition service on here is aligned to a pre-employment transition service. And once we get back to the slideshow, after I get done here with looking at the inventory, I'm going to remind you of a wonderful resource that defines the pre-employment transition services or pre-ETS. But for purposes of the inventory, you'll see that we have a key here where we have these acronyms here. So there's 5 pre-employment transition services. And like, for instance, ISA is instruction and self-advocacy, WRT, workplace readiness training, and so on. So I'll show you as I scroll down here. So our first topic within the inventory says self-awareness. You'll see here the pre-ETS service that it aligns to is ISA, which is instruction and self-advocacy. So next to each one, that's where you'll see the pre-employment transition service. So when you scroll down, you will see that, you know, we talked about earlier when Lindsay was reviewing the transition framework again, for all of us, you'll remember that we have 4 domains within the learning expectations of our framework. And so best life is that overarching, what do you see, young person and family, what do you see as your best life? And then you scroll down and then we have the 3 areas within the IEP that we think about with transitions. We have independent living, and then when you scroll down further, you'll see employment, and then post-secondary education and training. And then, so you'll see the topics within each of those domains. So here I am within independent living, and we have daily life. Another really cool feature to keep in mind is, we have the definition of what daily life means, but you can also click, like here, I can click on daily life. It will take you to daily life within the framework, because all of these topics are within the support youth section of the toolkit and the framework. And you'll see we have the independent living section. Daily life is listed here. So it says the definition of what daily life is, but there's also some subcategories and subtopics underneath, and you can click on those and you'll get more information. Now, we mentioned the learning stages. So the learning stages also are defined more specifically within each topic. So you can go to this accordion within each topic. It'll say outcomes for youth, and you will see those 4 learning stages more specifically defined for each topic. So here we have safety skills, and then you'll see, what does awareness mean for safety skills? Okay, the youth understands how to stay safe at home and in the community. Exploration within safety skills is this, and so on. So what does preparation look like, and what does implementation look like for each of those topics? And remember that we're going to talk about this more in the February and March meetings, but we have a learn section within each topic and a do, so giving you as professionals resources. I'm going to go back to the inventory. So I had taken you, I'd clicked on daily life, and it took you in there in case you wanted some more information as you're having these conversations. Lindsay, do you want to say something? Am I going too slow? I know I'm probably going too slow. I gotta pick it up. Okay. So the other thing to know, so how you complete this, you can do, ideally you're sitting together as a team, you're going through this inventory and you're having a discussion. Let's talk about developing a vision. You can read what developing a vision is, and then as a group decide, where do we think the student or youth is at within those 4 learning stages. And then there's a conversation about, okay, there might be a lot of areas that you check that the student might need some help in, but what are we going to prioritize this year? Because there could be a lot of different things. So you click which ones you want to prioritize, and then you can take some notes in the box next to it. We're going to show this in a moment and see it a little more in action, because I know it's sometimes hard to wrap your head around it if you haven't seen it in action, which we're going to do. Okay. I'm going to go back to our slides. Let me, because I got a billion things up. I'm going to bring back here. There it is. There's slides from current. Okay, so just as a reminder, the next thing I have on our slide deck, so we're reviewing the inventory. We're going to talk about a little bit more so you can see it in action. I had included a slide. There's a desk aid that you can click the link. It takes you to this lovely document that defines the 5 pre-ET services if you wanted more information. As you know, VRS and SSB, that's a big part of our federal law, WIOA, the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. We're required to provide pre-ET services. And so when we're having conversations, we might be talking, okay, is this, which pre-ET service is it? And so this helps you all with aligning those transition services to the pre-ET services.
Okay, so next we're gonna do a mock IEP. I think it was super helpful for Alyssa to walk us through the inventory, because we're going to do a mock IEP using our transition pre-ETS inventory. And a question was put in the chat, can we use this as part of a reevaluation? Yes, and we want you to use this as a part of all of your plans that we're doing here as a team. Okay, oh, yes. So, yep. Okay.
So yeah, go ahead.
So sorry. I was like, oh my gosh, I don't have what I'm reading. Okay. So we are going to do a mock IEP, and we need our student, Maddie. And Maddie, is it okay? Maddie is Alyssa's daughter. So a huge thank you for her for being our student today. And we're making it real. And so we're going to demonstrate what it might look like to use the transition pre-ETS inventory in a mock IEP. And then keep in mind, for purpose of time, we're not going to actually do a full IEP. We're just going to show bits and pieces so you can see it, I guess, in action. Okay.
Lindsay,
Yes.
this is Barb. I can't find Maddie on the participant list for
Maddie is pinned. So I see, does everybody see
okay.
myself, Alyssa, and Beth and Maddie? Okay, we're all pinned. Thank you, Barb. Thank you. Okay, all right. So I'm good. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Maddie's IEP meeting. We are going to start with introductions. So I'm Lindsay, and I'm Maddie's special education case manager. Maddie, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Maddie, and I'm excited to spend this time talking about me.
Hello, everyone. I am Anne. I'm Maddie's mom.
And Beth.
Oh, hi, I am Beth, and I'm Maddie's waiver case manager.
And I'm Alyssa, and I'm Maddie's vocational rehabilitation services counselor. And I just wanted to say a sideline, Lindsay, if you can pull up the inventory, the trajectory while we're talking here, because I didn't have that pulled up.
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to say my line and then pull that
Sorry.
up. Okay, so let's begin. So I hope everyone got the agenda that Maddie and I put together for today. And thank you to everybody for contributing to that, so that we know what we want to talk about today. Maddie, are you ready to take us through our agenda?
Yes, first we will talk about the meeting I had with Lindsay and my mom last week. It was great to talk about what I want for my future.
I don't have Maddie's login.
Maybe Beth can, because you probably have. Okay, Beth will pull that up. Okay, you just keep going, Lindsay, with your script, and we'll get this.
Okay, so yes, Maddie, Ann, and I had a pre-IEP meeting last week, and that's where we completed a life trajectory, and we went through the transition pre-ETS inventory, which I sent out to all of you guys ahead of time. We're going to pull up her trajectory right now and let you know what we talked about. So while we're pulling up the transition pre-ETS, we're going to review the trajectory first.
And Beth is getting there.
Yes.
Sorry, and something we forgot to get
We
ready.
had everything queued up but the trajectory.
There's a lot to think about with this meeting, I tell you.
All right. Are you seeing?
Luckily
Here we
everybody
go.
have it saved in Maddie's My Vault account, and that's why Beth was able to find it so easily.
And this would be in Maddie's account. Maddie would be finding her own.
Yes, we would be supporting
Yes,
you, Maddie.
exactly.
Thank you.
And we are.
Thank you.
I am in Maddie's account. Is there a finished one?
There is. So if you go into the files and scroll down there, and you'll see her life trajectory there. Oh, look at that beautiful picture.
Oh,
Oopsie.
sorry, I can't.
You would just press the enable editing button. So actually it becomes, okay.
It was hidden under my Zoom bar.
Oh, yes. Okay, and then we can make it a little small or scroll down. Oopie. Okay, so, oh yes, all right. So here we have Maddie's trajectory here. You'll see at the bottom things that we walked through of things that Maddie does not want. I can't read any of those, but does not want to, oh, thank you. Oh yes, that's right. Does not want to work in nursing, doesn't want to be bored, doesn't want to have no friends or no money. You know, the vision for Maddie's best life is really owning her own things, managing her own money, staying active, spending time with her family, especially her mom, and career that involves helping others, and then going to college. So then things that we talked about in terms of what are some barriers that could be to getting to that vision for her best life of money. It's expensive to go to college. School, what different schooling does Maddie need to take in order to get to that goal? Time, and then not sure. Maddie's not quite sure of her entire career of what she wants to do. And then different things we talked about that would support this vision is opening a bank account, learning how to budget, managing her own bank account, and then support from her family. Maddie seems to have a very supportive family. So then now, after walking through the trajectory, we will pull up the transition pre-ETS inventory. And just to, because Maddie is just really kind of starting in transition, it isn't a surprise that we agreed that she's in that awareness level on most of the topics that we'll see here. And so we spent time discussing which topics seemed most important to focus on this year. And that's what we'd like to share with our team today. So the first item was developing a vision. And as we just shared, we began working on that vision by completing the trajectory. And then the next item that was checked was money. And being that Maddie talked a lot about wanting to have her own money, Maddie's mom, Anne, said that she could start addressing this by taking Maddie to the bank and helping her set up a bank account. So we're going to put in there that Anne is going to help set up that bank account. So Maddie does get SSI. So she and Maddie will work out a weekly allowance from her SSI that she will get by doing some household chores. And then this will allow her to start working on how to manage her money. I also said that we could work with Maddie at school in learning basic money concepts.
So we could also provide some help with money management throughout through the year with the waiver outside of school hours. So for instance, Maddie, because you really learn better by seeing, I've noticed you're really a visual learner. So we could have someone help you make tools like a visual budget to help you see the money that you have and how you want to spend it. And then they could go shopping with you so you can learn how to use that visual budget. So I would authorize individualized home support with family training and then help you find the right person for you to work with. Is that something you'd like to do?
Yeah, I would love to do that.
I agree. That would be perfect.
Okay, great. So I will add that on the inventory here. And in the money section, you see we added also the waiver work on budgeting and shopping. So then we're going to scroll down. We also checked career exploration, work-based learning experiences, and skills for success in the employment section. Maddie and Anne thought it would be a great idea to enroll Maddie in the school work-based learning program during spring semester. Alyssa, I'm wondering, as her VRS counselor, it would be really great for you to check in with Maddie and her work-based learning coordinator to see how all that goes. Is there anything else you think VRS could help with?
Yes, thanks. I agree. I think checking in on what she's learning in the work-based learning program will be great. And then Maddie and I can talk about extra help in these areas that I can provide when we're in our one-on-one meetings together when I'm out at the school. And one thing that I think about that could be helpful is that, Maddie, as you're learning about certain careers that you're interested in, I can help set up job shadows so that you can see the jobs that you are starting to have an interest in.
Wonderful. I really think Maddie could benefit from that.
I agree.
Okay, great. All right. We'll add that VRS will help with these areas. So we're adding career exploration. VRS will help with additional career exploration as needed. We'll add work-based learning. VRS will help set up job shadows. And then in skills for success, VRS will help with additional work placement readiness skills as needed.
Hey, Ann and Maddie, I know that you also talked about that Maddie receives SSI benefits. And so I'm wondering if talking about how working might impact your benefits would also possibly be helpful to you.
I just know that my mom said that she was worried about me working because she doesn't want me to lose my benefits.
That is true. That is a concern.
Okay, so what if we checked, there's benefits planning on the inventory. So we could add that as a priority this year. And then what I could do is, first of all, introduce you to the Disability Hub. And within the Disability Hub, there's DB 101, where we can explore how work will impact your benefits. And I can connect you to other resources on Disability Hub because they can help you with benefits planning throughout your life. So I can put that in on the inventory as well as something that I'll help you provide.
Sounds good.
Sure, sounds perfect.
All right, this is amazing information. So we will add benefits planning as a priority and make a note that VRS will help with this. So we'll add help Maddie and Ann explore DB 101. Okay. The last item that we checked is in the post-secondary education and training section and the options. So I'm wondering, Alyssa, could VRS also help Maddie start looking at college options related to her career interests as she begins to identify those?
Yeah, that sounds great. I'd be happy to do that too. So let's add that in as well.
Okay, great. Okay, so we're going to pause our IEP meeting here. Thank you for bearing with us as we pulled up the life trajectory, which I think got us all a little, but we came back, team. And so we're going to go back to our PowerPoint, and we are at 2:04. So I kind of want to troubleshoot with our team. Are we okay to talk about that with our group? What are we thinking here?
Can we take a little break? Let's take
a
little break.
Okay.
Maybe a quick.
Are we okay with like a 3-minute break? Okay, so we'll come back at 2:08. Everything. And thank you for stopping and starting the recording. So maybe if we just hear from one or two of what worked well, what questions do you have, or you could put them in the chat. In terms of that mock IEP and what you saw, do you see yourself using it? What worked for you?
Well, I'll just go ahead and say thank you all for doing that. And for Maddie for volunteering. That was really nice. And I think it's helpful for me to kind of see everybody joining in and adding their parts, which is how it should work, right? Everybody's saying, well, I can do this and I can do this part. So that's nice to see. One question I have about the pre-ETS inventory is it had where it had like independent living and you rate which of the 4 areas, but then Alyssa, when you went in to show like all the different areas, safety and, you know, the whole list, I wonder is, because someone might be really strong in safety, but not as strong in another area. Do they break it down in the inventory at all?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So let's go to daily life. On the inventory, you know, it's a large category, and then you see there's all these subtopics on here. And so we did that purposely because this could have been a really huge inventory if we did all those subtopics as, you know, listed out. So this is how we are envisioning you would use this. And again, you're all testing this, so you can tell us if there's some better ideas. But you say you go to daily life and you look at all these subtopics, and as you have the discussion, you say, well, Maddie really, she doesn't need a lot of help with safety skills and managing her home, but she does need help with nutrition and meal preparation. So in terms of what you might select here, and you know, you might still say she's at the awareness level or wherever you want to select in terms of the learning stages, but that's where the notes can really come into play. So you can say, you know, we believe she has real great strengths. She's actually at implementation on X, Y, and Z, but we really think that she's more at the awareness level with, you know, nutrition and meal prep. And so you just type that in. Because then it allows you, and we'll talk about that in a moment, because when you go back, once you have this all completed, then it allows you to go back and say, okay, who is going to do what related to that in terms of supporting it? And then you can put that into each of your individual plans that you're doing. So if you're a school staff and you're going to help with it, you can say, okay, we identified nutrition and meal prep, and the school's going to help with that. You know, you'd have that in the notes. So that's the idea with how you would, that we're envisioning you would do that. Does that make sense? Okay.
Okay. So I think, appreciate what you sharing, Nancy, of what worked well, and then that additional question. And I appreciate the items that were shared in the chat. We answered another question in there in terms of, can you actually save the inventory? And yes, you can download it and save it. And it is a fillable PDF so that you can come back to it. The idea is that you guys fill this out as a team like we showed, and that you're going to revisit this and update it. And then the youth would be able to upload their transition pre-ETS inventory into their MyVault account. And then everybody's able to use it.
One thing I just wanted to call out, and it was only because we weren't able to prep my daughter Maddie as well as we would have liked. I would have liked her to share the trajectory, and of course we kind of did a little more talking as professionals, and maybe we would have liked Maddie too. So right. I just had to say that.
All right, so I think next we're going to get into our plans.
All right. So, hi everybody, I'm Beth Gruby with DHS, and so we're talking about today step 3, and after step 2, you do the inventory, you do all of that. We all have plans that we're creating, right? There's the employment plan, there's the waiver community support plan, there's the IEP. So making sure that we're using the inventory as we are going into planning is important. So now the inventory is complete. It's not just, oh, we did it and now we put it in a filing cabinet and ignore it. So it's going to continue to be a useful resource that you can use throughout the whole year. So in creating the plans, like we just discussed, we have to go back and decide which support team member will provide services that are related to each prioritized need, right? So what is the waiver going to cover? What is voc rehab going to do? What is the school going to do? So once that's decided, step 3 in the planning process is for all of the team members to create or update those agency plans to include those topics. And then also to include how those services are going to be provided and addressed. So the plan, including the IEP, the VRS or SSB employment plan, and the waiver support plan, all have requirements, right, that we're required to coordinate the plans. So we're all on the same page. We don't have different goals on different plans. We're all coordinating around the same person. So this will be a great tool to help be able to do that. So once those plans are completed, if it's a new plan or if it's an updated plan, then the youth should again be supported in helping them put the plan into their own vault account. So right now, I know on the waiver side anyway, paper plans are sent out to people. So the community support plan is completed and a paper plan is sent. And I see Lindsay, you're nodding, and so we're still doing paper, right? Living in the 1900s. So helping the students be able to upload those plans into their own vault account. So you can share them from your vault account to them directly, or you could just help them also upload them if they get it in email, or however you help them, just help them get it into their vault account so that they can have a copy of it for themselves. And then once the student has the copy, they can share with their whole support team. So everybody can have each other's plans. So the waiver case manager can know what the school is doing and what VR is doing. The school can know what the waiver is doing and what is in the employment plan. So sharing it that way. All right. The other thing we wanted to let you know is that all of the plans are linked in the toolkit, the information about the plans. So there's a link in the toolkit, and I think I will, Anne's putting that link in the chat right now. And we are just I'm gonna share my screen and share the right screen so you can see. All right. So this is where the information about the plans are. So if you go into the Youth in Transition Toolkit, into Educate Yourself, and then the basics, there's a section on plans. And under Youth Planning, you can see here are all the plans. So the IEP, information about IEPs, information about 504 plans, and information about the employment plans and the CSP for the waiver. So I'm not going to go into each one because we don't have time right now, but that is all there for you. So you can go take a look and you should start seeing them showing up in your vault account and sharing those with each other. So we'll go back to the PowerPoint. And just keep in mind the Coordinated Services and Supports Plan, we call it CSP, CSSP under the waiver. Community Support Plan is a common term. So it's a summary that's going to describe the person's choice of supports and services. So that one might be a little new to you. So just want to make sure you know that the waiver also has a plan. All right. So we wanted to make sure we kept this as simple as possible. We didn't want to get too detailed. We know that all of our plans have a lot of information in them, but we really wanted to hone in on that all of us have to address goals and all the steps that are needed to reach those goals. So this is really where we can come together. So you can see on this slide, you know, there are goals of the school, measurable post-secondary goals with employment and post-secondary education and training, independent living. The R has the job goal, and waivers, really the goal is to help the person be able to live in the community. And then we identify steps to reach those goals, manual instruction, services and supports for the school. VR is really focusing on services and activities, and waivers are focusing on those action steps to get to those goals as well. All right, so if we go back to Maddie's plan, you can take a look based on our discussion that we had at the IEP meeting, where we reviewed the transition and pre-ETS inventory. We can take those items that were on the inventory and put them into our plans. So we identified that the school would help her learn basic money concepts, as well as enroll her in the work-based learning program, where she'll explore her career, learning, workplace readiness skills, and eventually get some work experience. Voc Rehab is going to assist with any additional career exploration, which could be within the category of pre-ETS job exploration counseling, job shadows, which is in the category of pre-ETS work-based learning, and then pre-ETS workplace readiness training items that include the foundation or soft skills and benefits planning. And then the waiver is going to assist with money management, such as budgeting and shopping through the waiver service. So that's really what that looks like then. So carrying that information from the inventory over into all of our plans, and then making sure we're sharing those plans with the student, and then the students also sharing them with the whole team. So I think the next slide, we will talk about, we're not talking about. All right, we're going straight into my vault. All righty, so I'm going to talk about.
You're so good.
I'm going to talk about putting stuff in the vault. So hopefully all of you have vault accounts. If you don't, please go and create one. So this slide shows you, and the link and just put in there is how to create a My Vault account. If you don't have one, please go in and create one. It will help you with this work. It will also help you see how to help students that you're supporting create their own My Vault accounts, and then information can be shared securely between them. So I'm not going to go through that, but you have that information in the slide. And so what I'm going to do is show you how you can, I'm going to share my screen, and I am going to just show you a couple things. So when you are in, let me go to my vault. When you're in my vault, so I am logged on right now as Maddie. So I'm going to show you from a student's perspective how they could upload their own information into their vault account. So I'm going to go, I'm logged in as Maddie, you can see up here. And so I have, I can see I've got my contacts all built out, right? We have, when we get there, we have her team. So we've got Alyssa, who is the VR counselor. We've got Anne, who is her mom. We've got me, who is her case manager. And we've got Lindsay, who is her school staff. All right. So I have my Maddie's CSP, her community support plan. So I'm her case manager, and I shared that with Maddie. So in my own vault account, as a professional, as her case manager, I uploaded it to my vault and shared it with Maddie through the vault, and that would automatically populate in here. But if I didn't do that and I emailed it to her, for example, I'm going to show you what it looks like for Maddie to do it herself. She got it in an email. She's going to go to her email, and you're not going to be able to see both of my screens, but I have it on my other screen, and I can drag it in. See how I'm pulling it in here? I just dragged it in right from the other screen. And she could drag it and drop it right into that spot. And so here it is, Maddie's sample CSSP or CSP. That is that simple. So Matt, you can drag and drop files into your own vault account. Okay. So if I want to go into my vault account, so now I'm a professional, I'm going to sign in as Beth Gruby. And I'm going to go to my files. So I have Maddie's, and I don't really have it in here. I should have done this before, but I'm going to say I have Maddie's, we're going to say we have Maddie's document is right here. I can go to the share icon and I can share it with whoever I need to. So you could share your Maddie's document with her. Sorry, I should.
So Beth, for example, if I, as the case manager, have an IEP that we've completed as a team, I can upload that into my vault as a professional and then share that IEP with Maddie. And then Maddie would then accept it and it goes into her files.
Right. Yes. Thank you. And then when Maddie gets that, so Maddie now has it in her vault account, she can share it with the rest of her team. So I can say, oh, I want to share my community support plan with Alyssa, my VR counselor, with Ann, my mom, and with Lindsay, my school staff. And she can type in, please see my CSP and send. And it's shared. So that way, all of us can share our plans with each other. And then Lindsay and Alyssa and Ann now have it in their vault accounts. And they accept it and they can see it as well. So closing that loop, making sure the people we support have their own information, and then also all the team members are sharing, the person is sharing the information with the team members. Because if they do it that way, where the student shares it, you don't have to have releases because it's the student sharing the information themselves. If you were the county case manager, if I were to share it with Alyssa, the voc rehab counselor directly, I would have to have a release of information and make sure that it's okay to share that information. But as long as we're making sure that the person is sharing it, no release of information is needed. So it's a pretty simple process. I made it look more complicated than it really is.
Beth, may I ask a question that was asked? Is my vault, because I don't know this answer, is my vault accessible for a mobile phone?
Yes. Yep, it is now. We just last year actually made it mobilely optimized. So it's a little more difficult because it's tiny, but you can, yes, it's the way the layout is now mobile optimized. All right. And I'm going to stop sharing. All right, I think we are ready for, does anybody have any questions?
All right, I'm going to keep going because I know we're running low on time. I apologize, everybody. We try to time these things out. We wanted a little more time for us to have some breakouts, but we'll do better next time. We're learning it with each meeting. But we're just going to take you through just next steps because we're going to be done here at 2:30. So all of you can have local planning meetings if that's what you decided to do with your last 30 minutes. So let's talk about next steps. We covered a lot of stuff today. So just reminding you of what your next steps will be based on everything we covered. So number one, you'll want to bring the youth team together to complete that transition and create inventory. So think about those 2 students your team has selected. After you complete that inventory, you'll all want to be updating your plans based on the inventory results. You want to help the youth upload that inventory and those plans into their MyVault account, and then help them share it with their team members. So I know we hear sometimes like, oh, but the student might not be able to do it on their own, and that's okay if they're getting that help. That's how we're helping them to learn and helping their families learn how to use MyVault as well. Every month, as you might recall, we give you some content we'd like you to review. So on this slide, we have 4 links here within the toolkit. If you can review that content in the next month, it's all related to what we covered today, but it helps solidify what we talked about. It helps bring you to the toolkit, and also on each page, if you recall, you can also be giving us feedback as you're going through the content. If there's more information that you think should be on the page or something you think might be changed or updated, we love that feedback as you're going through it. Also want to remind you one more time, as Lindsay said, it's so important that you're going into your workbooks together as a team and completing all the data in there. So making sure you're doing these 3 steps in your workbook, getting that data, letting us know your goals for competitive integrated employment outcomes for the students you're serving and the progress you're making towards those goals. Any other last minute questions from anyone before I take us to the final portion here? We'll stay on too after the end. If you want to ask us something, we'll stay on for a bit, and you can ask us questions too when we're finished here at 2:30, which we're exactly at 2:30. So let me finish this. Reminder, so we are not meeting in January. We're taking a month off. So our next meeting will be in February. In February and March, we're going to go into steps 3 and 4 of the 4 and 5 of the youth planning process, which is about implementing the plans and tracking progress together. And then we have meetings in April and May. We included on here, these are the final 4 meeting dates that we have. You should all have those and the links to them, but if you don't, email one of us, which we have on this slide, our email addresses. So reach out if you have questions or you need meeting links or whatever it might be, reach out to us. And then last but not least, we have one more thing we ask you to do as the exit ticket. Like, how did this meeting work for you? What can we be doing differently? We'd like that feedback. It helps us so much. We're learning a lot about what works and what doesn't. And this will help us rolling it out big time to the rest of the world in the next year, 23-24 school year. So that's what we're preparing for as we're working with you this year. So you can click on that. I think the link to the survey is going into the chat. If you don't get it done right this minute, you can come back to it later. I think that is it with our content. Again, we'll stay on.